Me F42 and my boyfriend M44 are having a disagreement about my work conference. We have been dating for about a year. I have a work conference coming up in my local area. I started this job a few months ago, so this is my first time attending this conference. However, in my career field, I've been attending conferences for over a decade that involves a dinner on the last night. I asked my manager if we were allowed a +1 to the dinner, and she said no. This is only for the company employees. My manager mentioned that this will be a black tie event. I have a lot of beautiful dresses in my closet, some I've never worn. However, I don't have any floor-length gowns. I told my boyfriend I was going to Macy's to buy a new dress, and he said I should wear something in my closet. I explained that I needed a new dress due to the dress code and that I'm excited to buy a new dress and get glammed for a night. I very rarely get to get glammed up. He was upset and said he didn't understand why I had to buy a new dress. He told me he would talk to me later and got off our FaceTime call. I went to the mall and saw several beautiful dresses in my price range of about $150. I texted my boyfriend and told him most of the dresses were 30% off and I could probably find a great dress for under $100. I took a few pictures of dresses I saw to get his opinion, but he said he does not want to be a part of this process at all. I texted him back and told him that I understand and I would no longer involve him in this. The dress I picked is navy blue. I'm completely covered. No cleavage or legs out, etc. I am respectful of the dress I picked out and the fact that I'm in a relationship. About a week later, we talked about this subject again, and he was even more upset. He said he didn't understand why I wanted a new dress. I told him that when we met last year, he bought a brand new suit for his office Christmas party that he did not invite me to. He said that's different because a +1 was allowed. But I shouldn't buy a new dress and get glammed up if my significant other can't be there. Anyway, as I tried to defend my choice and point out how I am allowed to buy new clothes and get glammed up, he got upset again and told me he would talk to me the next day. Before he hung up, he asked me if I'm a leader or a follower. A few days later, he said that he thought I was looking for attention. I was honestly hurt and shocked by this revelation. I am dressing for the occasion and want to feel pretty for a night. I told him at our ages, I will not have someone policing my clothing and what I buy. I dress modestly all of the time. I'm mostly in jeans and t-shirts and he tells me to dress up more often. He even asked me why I don't get a bit more dressed up to go to Target and the grocery store. I told him I like to be comfortable. We get to wear jeans in the office, so the only time I really get to dress up is dates with him and church. Tilda. My boyfriend doesn't want me to buy a new dress for a work conference because he thinks I'm looking for attention. How should we settle this, come to a compromise, or move forward in a healthy way? Update. I just got back home from breaking up with him. The conversation lasted less than 5 minutes. I cried as I drove to his house and all the way back home. I'm taking a sleeping pill so I can force myself to go to sleep. I blocked him from my phone and all social media accounts. Thank you to everyone who gave me advice. Good night. Final update. Someone asked me about the breakup and I put it in a comment, but here it is. I walked into his house with the few clothing items he had at my house. When he saw the clothes, he said, "Wow, I thought you were coming over to talk, but you're coming over to break up with me." I was already crying when I walked through his door. I was trying to compose myself. I told him that no matter what I do, it never seems good enough. I mentioned how I'm always so supportive of him and I constantly trying to meet his needs, his love languages, his way of thinking, etc. He cut me off and said, "You're breaking up with me, so let's stop this conversation." In my head I said okay, but the words didn't come out of my mouth. He then said, "All of this over a dress that you didn't need and still want to wear. And I'm glad I didn't marry you because you always run away when I have an opinion." He also said, "Everybody has different opinions, but communication is key, not running away." Inside, I secretly hoped he would see my tears and say to himself, "Wow, I'm being so stupid right now. I'm losing the love of my life over a dress." But he doubled down. He looked in the bag of the stuff I was returning and said, "Well, okay then." I looked at him for a second, then went ahead and walked out of the door. He texted me about 10 minutes later and said, "Okay, I will give you what you want, sweetie." I hope all the best for you and my daughter's name. Let her know I love her. I didn't reply, and that's when I blocked him. When I walked in the door, my daughter said, "Mom, have you been crying?" I said yes and told her I would take a sleeping pill and go to bed. She asked me what happened, and I told her I broke up with him. She said she would cheer me up by showing me some of her favorite YouTube videos, and she gave me a hug. So at 3 a.m., the time I'm typing this, my daughter and my puppy are asleep in the bed with me. I feel deep sadness and a bit of relief. I no longer have to walk on eggshells anymore or explain myself to my boyfriend. But I loved him very much. I know all of the good times are going to play in my head for a while. I'm going to think of him every day for a while. I'm going to miss him. He's the first relationship I've had in the last 6 or 7 years. We cooked together, laughed together, sang together, watched movies, had dinner and movie dates. But he also tried to control who I talked to, who I hung out with, what I was eating, what I was wearing. He was critical of me, ignored me when he was angry, talked over me when I treated to explain my point of view. He knew I was kind when he met me, but he was trying to get me to not be so kind to other people, because it didn't make him feel special if I did for others the same things I do for him. He asked me how is he more special or set apart from other people. When we met, I was around 150 pounds. I got back down to my original weight of around 140, and he told me I needed to put the weight back on. That part one don't understand. When we would be having regular conversations, he would start lecturing me. He would ask what I ate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. When I would answer, he would start saying I needed to be more disciplined. When I would take a nap on the weekends, he would say I'm not being productive. If I didn't reply to his texts quick enough, he would be upset and ask why I didn't have my phone near me. He said I should take my phone from room to room in case he urgently needs me. When I would FaceTime him before bed, in my comfy PJs, he would ask me why I don't wear prettier PJs to bed. Honestly guys, I'm just exhausted. I didn't sleep well and mostly cried all night. I'm a mess this morning, but I'm working from home, so that's a plus. I know this will get better with time. I'm not sure why I put up with this for so long. Relationships are complicated. There's so much good and a bit of bad, and I just didn't know the right time to exit. When I'm asking Reddit for advice and over 1,000 comments see the red flag behavior when I've only shared a really small piece of my relationship was a wake-up call. Thank you all.